안녕하세요, 오인튜브입니다. 여러분들이 정말 너무 오랫동안 기다려주신 릴 몬스터스의 팟캐스트가 곧 상영될 예정인데, 이 영상을 보시기 전에 이 영상이 버금가게 굉장히 알차고 너무 좋은 소식이 있어서 이 행사 소식을 먼저 전해드리겠습니다. 2월 19일 수요일부터 23일 일요일까지 서울 홍대 한가운데서 열리는 행사니까 꼭 오셔야 되는 이유가 있는데, 이름이 레이브, 날뛰다, 날뛰는 그런 행사인 만큼, 물론 이제 이름의 뜻은 reptile, art, vivarium, exhibition 이라는 뜻으로 날뛸 만큼 정말 멋있는 전시 공연들이 있을 예정이니까 평일날 오셔서 이 히읗디귿 카페에서 음료도 즐기시고 무료로 전시되는 이 작품들을 감상하고 가시고 또 즐기시고 가시면 너무 좋을 것 같아요. 우리나라에서 정말 쟁쟁한 분들의 작품들을 모아놨다고 하니까 이 데이트 코스를 한번 짜보시는 게 어떨까라는 생각을 했습니다. 그리고 이어서 토요일, 일요일, 22일, 23일에는 토크 콘서트도 있고 심포지움 강연도 있고 정말 유명한 래퍼들의 무대까지 보실 수 있다고 하니까 안 오실 이유가 없는 것 같아요. 저는 심포지움에서 토요일 1시 30분에 나의 크레 선생님이라는 제가 갔던 서식지와 우리가 지금 키우는 크레 환경을 비교하면서 여러분들이 크레를 키우시는데 도움이 많이 될 수 있는 알짜배기 정보들만 모아갖고 강연을 할 예정이니까 정말 많은 참여 부탁드리겠습니다. 이날은 판매하는 곳이 절대 아니고 온전히 파충류 문화를 알리기 위해서 아웃사이더님이 엄청나게 고심하고 기획한 행사이기니만큼 알차게 즐기시고만 가시면 된다는 거 꼭 기억하시면 좋겠습니다. 홍보 영상 하나 보시고 릴 몬스터스의 팟캐스트를 한번 들어보시도록 하시죠.
안녕하세요, 가수 슬리피입니다. 홍대에서 아주 힙한 전시가 열린다고 하는데요. 2025 아트 reptile 페스타가 2월 19일부터 2월 23일까지 5일 동안 열린다고 합니다. 이 래퍼 아웃사이더, 제 친구인데요. 아웃사이더가 20주년, 데뷔 20주년을 맞아서 이 전시를 주관한다고 하니까 기대가 많이 됩니다. 그 요즘에 파충류 키우시는 분들이 정말 많이 늘고 있어요. 제 주변에도 많은데요. 많이 놀러 오셨으면 좋겠습니다. 저도 가서 즐길 테니까요. 그때 봐요. 화이팅!
안녕하세요, 오인튜브입니다. 빅스타, 제가 가장 모시고 싶었던 그들을 제가 드디어 여기 LA 와갖고 모시게 됐습니다. 릴 몬스터의 앤토니 그리고 제시카. Would you please say hello to my audience?
Hello, everyone.
Hi.
Good to meet you. Thank you for having us.
Thank you for spending your valuable time with me.
Absolutely. For friends, anything.
We tried a couple times for an interview, but we couldn't make it. But finally, you guys are here. I'm so glad and thankful.
Took a while.
Yeah, it took a while, but I knew it's going to happen in someday.
Absolutely.
Really exciting and nervous at the same time having you guys on my channel, because you guys are not only my star but also stars from Korean breeders.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
언젠가는 제가 이분들을 꼭 한국에 모셔갖고 되게 멋진 자리를 한번 마련해 볼 수 있도록 제가 노력해 보겠습니다. Okay, here's my questions. First, let's talk about the hobby and business of breeding geckos in America. Before we do that, I just want to mention that our first meet in LA at the Pasadena, right?
Yeah, we met at the... Was it Pasadena? No, it was the
Pasadena.
Pomona.
No, it's good.
Was it Pasadena?
Pasadena Cafe.
Cafe.
Oh, yes, that's right. It was a Pasadena cafe.
Bakery cafe, I believe. Yes. That was my first met Anthony.
Yeah, it was a coffee shop.
I was very shocked because of your first and second question. It shocked me.
Oh, really?
I'll get there later on, but yes. First of all, can you tell us about yourself, where you were born and raised?
Okay, I was born and raised in California. So I grew up in the LA area, San Gabriel. Moved to Pomona, but for the most part, I've always been in Los Angeles area.
And you, Jessica?
I was born and raised in Korea.
Ooh, not many people knows about it.
So we were in Seoul, then the military base in Yongsan. So I lived there about 13 years, and then I moved here to California 2005.
And you never been to Korea after that?
Since 2006.
2006.
Because I went back in the summer 2006 for vacation, and then that was my last time there.
Oh, so your father is American and mother is born in Korea.
Korea, yeah.
강원도 출신이시랍니다. Interesting. What was your major in school? I mean, your
For me, I went to school, and for the first thing that I wanted to do was marine biology.
marine biology.
Yeah, marine biology and biochem. So those are my two passions. But they don't make a whole lot of money. I got to, my uncle works at a university, so I got to speak and hang out with marine biologists. So at that point, I reshifted my major into engineering.
Engineering. That's a lot of shifting.
It's a lot of shifting, yes. So I went to mechanical engineering. I learned how to build motors. So I went to a different school for that. And then my second major at that time during that school was computer science.
Ah, I see.
Two majors in each college. And then I settled on computer science. And so from there, I went into the IT field. So as an IT systems administrator, and then I got more and more certificates as I was in there. I did that for about 11 years. So systems administrator, network administrator, Microsoft certified. Yeah, those were my majors, and that's what I did. And then after that, that was my career for about 10 or 11 years. And then I shifted my focus into entertainment. So now I'm virtual production supervisor. I do a lot of programming for shows, concert tours, film, TV, movies. Yeah, bunch of stuff.
Okay, that was my next question. What do you do for a living? And
That's what I do right now for a living is...
wow.
So Jessica and I have Lil Monsters reptiles, and then my other main job is I work in entertainment. So I program shows like Beyonce, Jay-Z, Metallica. I just finished a movie in Spain. That was there for 3 months. That was The Beast. I've done another movie in Mexico. I've done a couple in Toronto. I've worked on TV shows like America's Got Talent. American Horror Story. A lot of entertainment work here in Hollywood and wherever else I can.
I see. I mean, I wish you got a chance to work with Korean Netflix or.
I've worked with LA Netflix stuff and Amazon and things like that.
I see. One day, Korean Netflix, please come. Yeah. And you? What was your major?
My major in school was animal science pre-vet. I worked with a lot of dogs, cats, and farm animals. A lot of cows and sheep, goats. And then during school, I volunteered at a wildlife sanctuary in Phelan, working with... There's different levels. So you start basic level. It's like sugar gliders, lizards, hedgehog. And then level 2, you work with birds of prey, like falcon and...
Oh.
Big cats.
No, that's level 4.
Oh, that's nice.
So you got tigers, level 4, but level 3 is like smaller cats, like bobcats. So I did that while going to school, and then I worked at a vet hospital for 13 years as a technician.
Wow. Surgery tech.
Surgery, yeah, was my favorite.
I see. You still working on hospital right now?
No, I don't have time. After I graduated, and then after I graduated, instead of working in the hospital, I full-time with Little Monsters.
I see. I imagine you have a lot of different type of animals at your home, right?
Yeah, we have a lot of
many.
species.
I love them.
Over 25 species.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Because I work
Multiple.
with them. Well, because I work with them, they know
Yeah.
me better. So like
So the biggest are what? Tegus and...
spiny-tailed
spiny-tailed
iguanas, yeah.
iguanas.
That's not too big though.
No, not too bad.
Manageable.
Just a big puppy.
But they like me better because
Yeah, they
I
like her
feed
better.
them.
All right. That's good. Let's get into Gecko. And I remember when we first met at a cafe, your first question to me was why crested-geckos has yellow base color on their body. Do you know why? I was like, no. And you explained blah 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 blah, and I didn't understand at the time. I was like, really? I was like, your second question is, then do you know why crested-gecko makes red on their body? And I was like, no, sir. I never even imagined why
Yeah.
the color expressed in that specific color.
Yeah, for me, I think it's kind of one of the good starter questions for people. Is just like, why do you think you have different colorations, right? And why are the colorations so predictable? Why don't we have different colorations like green or purple or, some different color of orange or brown or other colors, right? Why don't we have those colors if it's random? And so my question to you was, if you think about it, it's not as random as you think. They're kind of fixed specifically for the base colors and the coat pattern color as well, right? That was like, for me, for the 20 years that I was breeding, and we're still breeding, Jessica and I, what are the predictable patterns of behavior and how can we control those, right? So I like asking those questions because they're like the first ones that kind of like make you think, oh, what have I done in the past to make yellow-based colors?
Can you explain one more time now? I mean, why crested gecko usually has yellow on it?
Because it's a dominant gene.
Because it's a dominant gene, yellow, and red is recessive.
Red behaves recessive. Behaves recessively in some cases it behaves dominantly. Red is the one that's the most confusing. It's the one that's a little bit of a wild card, though.
I read on your article.
Yeah. And then black-based, every single way that I've ever bred, all three of those with color-based colors, you can always return to black. You can't always return to red or to yellow. So black, for me, if we were to think of what would the wild type base coloration be, it'd be fixed. And so that would be black.
Okay, I'll figure it out. One day at the New Caledonia. Yeah. Next time I will find it. Yeah. Yes. And let you know about
We're
that.
still updating what we know because we're noticing a lot of changes and interactions with base colors and pattern. So if certain base colors are present, then red changes its behavior too. So we'll have to update our information on our understanding of what's going on.
I see. So do you think it's out of the question, but do you think the hypo, I mean, I would say genetic hypo or
Is it the pinky one that you're referring to, though?
both? The genetic hypo and also recessive hypo gene that we usually call lavender.
Oh, lavender. Okay, that one I present that one as a dominant to incomplete dominant. So we see that in one generation you can easily produce 50% lavenders to a black base. And so the subsequent generation, it behaves slightly incomplete dominant where you get those really pretty purples and blues. And so in just a few generations you can get. So for me that presents heterozygous and homozygous. So that's where I define hypo. But the pinky's different, right? That one's totally different. The one that we see at Reptiles by Mac, the top, the dorsum where it's kind of yellow in color, right? That one presents, from the information I've seen, because I've never worked with the gene, so I'm looking at it from afar, right? So everything that I'm telling you is going to be speculative.
I see.
So I think it's really important where if people are going to be contributing their comment, they do it from an educated perspective. And so my best educated guess is that it does appear to be incomplete dominant.
But both of them will affect on the color if we want to make like orange or pinkish color or...
Now, pinky did change. I believe the original breeder, Bug Plug, they changed the name to Fire, I believe.
I never heard.
Yeah. That was a new one recently, actually.
Does it? I don't think it matters anymore. I mean...
Yeah. It matters a little bit because if we have two genes that we're calling hypo, then it's very confusing, right?
It is confusing.
What if we
in Korea
called,
a
instead
lot.
of pinky, what if we called it lily gray, right? And then we would have an issue saying there's two lily genes, right? So the problem right now is that we have two hypo genes. So
There are people in Korea, there are a breeder called the pinky as his name Ghost.
right. So we have one gene that looks to be the same. You have one breeder calling them hypo. Now he's calling them fire. Another breeder calling them ghost. And we have another breeder calling them pinky, but then saying that they're not pinky at the same time, but because that's only the super form. So it's very, very
The
confusing.
hypo that causes the lighter coloration, like lavender, is,
Gray and purple.
is hypomelanistic.
That's the
should
one
be-
that we put in the book.
Yes.
Hypomelanistic. We have to remember that. Yes. And yeah. And how did you get into reptile and gecko? I mean, that's like basic my question.
Yeah, I mean, I just got into it when I was a kid. Honestly, I saw Reptile Shop and I was like, what? there's reptiles in here? That's crazy.
You wanted a Nile monitor.
I wanted a Nile monitor.
Baby.
Oh,
So cute.
one of these days I'll get a Nile
No,
monitor.
I don't know.
Why not? I hear they're sweet. I'm just kidding. They're not. But that was my favorite one.
And
That
then-
was the one that drew me, and I was like,
Nile
wow, I
monitor.
want a Nile monitor. And then he goes, how about a leopard gecko? And I said, wow, okay, I'll take a leopard gecko.
I see. Were there a lot of reptile shop back in the days?
No, but the same amount there are now, to be honest. Yeah, but it was just one in my local area. I was skateboarding and on the street, going to go meet my friends, and I just saw the pet shop.
Oh,
How about you? What got you into reptiles?
I've just always been really fascinated by them when I was little, but my mom doesn't like lizards or snakes, so she wanted to buy me cats or dogs instead. I'm like, I want this gecko, I want this snake. She always said no. And then I met Anthony, and Anthony bought me my first bearded dragon. We went to my first expo, and then we took home a bearded dragon, one bearded dragon, and one crested gecko.
are they still with you guys?
No.
No, that was 2007.
Yeah, that was a while ago. So
For me.
yeah, they're not with us anymore.
Yeah. So I got my first one in 2007, but you had yours since you were a teenager.
I got my first one in, I think it was like 2000 and, so I got my first leopard gecko. I think it was either 97 or 98. And then a crested gecko in, I think it was maybe 2001 or 2002, around that time. And then I hatched my first egg in 2003.
That's interesting. And you told me that you have big amount of data from back in the day. Like you collect the data on the Excel sheets. Yes.
Yeah. I was writing everything down, just thinking, is this like, how can everything be random? That doesn't make any sense. And so I just kept writing things down, and I would look at all the offspring that I was producing, and I kept writing that down in chart. And I was like, this one seems interesting. I was like, how did I get this gecko out of these two geckos? And then so, the confusion continued all the way up until 2005, and so 2006. And, I'd hatch some babies. I'd give a couple to my cousins and stuff like that. And then just writing it all down. And then I started to notice a pattern,
I see.
right? And then that's when I was just like, wait, this one produces in the same ratio as like a gene does. And so that was phantom for me, because it was really easy to spot with your eye.
Yeah.
And then so I kept experimenting with phantoms, kept experimenting with the coat coloration. And then when I met Jessica, that's when I showed her my information. And then we kind of just outlined a series of experiments. How do we prove this out?
How do I make more?
How do I make more that have the phenotype, right? How do I change the phenotype as
Yes.
we go on? And so, we kept breeding, but with intention to try to prove what genes could be affecting this and what is the inheritance of each look on the animal.
How many crested gecko did you have at the time? I mean, how many breeders you have?
We got all the way up to around, I think it was 72 to 78, 1.1
When we
pairings.
first started in the
1.1
very
Well, we started
beginning.
obviously with one,
That's true.
So
Yeah, but then we got one, and then I think we ended up getting like 10.
yeah.
And they were all little.
Yeah. So
Was there any crested gecko called morph, like a lily whites or azantic at the time?
I mean, there
Just
were
traits.
tries and stuff
Tries.
like that, characteristics,
Characteristics,
Characteristics, I see.
The number
phantom
one
phantom
thing,
pin,
The most exciting.
creams. There were brindles and tigers and Dalmatians and Harlequins and flames
Flame.
and there was bicolor and so there was a lot of different morphs at the time, right? When I met Jessica, it was just, how do we categorize those into genes for me, right? When I was looking at it, and how do we do it in a way to not completely disrupt the community and the hobby as we know it. So that was the difficult part as well.
I see. Do you have a lot of friends or other people to communicate with at the time about talking about the traits and morphs?
Most of it was just her, me, and then I would talk to Alan and Philippe really
Alan,
when we'd go to shows. Yeah, those were the most of the people that we
We always
talked to.
ask Alan and Philippe questions.
Mm-hmm.
And then we wanted to make our first because it wasn't around yet, was the red 100% pinstripe. And we
Oh
went-
yeah.
And so we told Alan we want to make 100% pinstripe, and we bought one from him, Inferno,
Yeah,
and he was like a 97%. It was like a little.
It was
gray.
so funny back in the day. There were
The
percentages
percentage.
for how close the
I know.
pinstripe got.
And then we finally made with him. We made our first 100%.
Pinstripe.
Red
That's right. Red
pinstripe.
pinstripe. Yeah.
I see.
Yeah, that was a big deal. That's on the Pangea forums. We made the first one.
Yeah, we said we did make a post about it.
Yeah.
Who knows if we were the first
I
ones or
don't know.
not? But it was fun. You know,
That's interesting.
it was fun thinking.
That
we were.
Alan was trying on 100% for red too.
Yeah, he was too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we used
One of his animals to try to do it
Yeah.
actually.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think
And it
first
was with Lila.
generation. First generation.
And it was with Lila,
Yeah,
remember?
Lila.
Yeah, it was a lavender that we had.
Lavender.
How much was the 98% pinstripe?
$700.
$700.
Yes, that was a lot for me.
Don't tell people that.
It was still pricey. I mean,
Crested geckos like $700 used
Yeah,
to be so
really.
expensive.
I didn't know. I thought it was, my imagination was like cheap animal at the time. No.
Maybe now it probably would
Yes.
be, right? Because of the progression that we're at now. But
Yeah,
Wow.
no. But that was investment animal for us.
Mhm.
Yes. I never thought that much.
We even came home with, what did we come home with that day? Was it a Lichianas?
Lichianas.
Nuana?
Nuana.
Yeah.
Yeah, half the price.
Maybe half the price for you. That's the price for you.
All right. I have a little question about West Side gecko community, not the East, because I don't even know, and you guys are here, Southern California, so
I love the west side.
yeah, West Side. How long did the reptile hobby started in Southern California?
Well, before
I mean,
was
before
in
we
it.
were even into it,
Yeah.
yeah, there were ball pythons, leopard geckos,
Iguanas.
skinks, iguanas. There's all sorts of animals at the time. Huge frog collections. Yeah. Any snake species you can think of. There's so many.
Bearded dragons. Alan Rapace, Philippe, they're all in California.
Right.
And they were doing a lot of work with the reptile and the hobby.
I see.
A lot of people in Florida too. So yeah, they were sharing a lot of information and stuff. But as far as back as I can remember, that's as far back as I can remember. And there are decades of people before me. So community that I'm aware of. I know of relationships that were back into the 80s. So yeah, which was when I was born. So
Yeah.
before I was born, most likely.
Deer Fern was on the west coast.
Deer fern? Okay.
Was a Euromastix breeder
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
before they moved, but
Mhm.
I think they were on the west side first. That's why we always saw him at our shows.
Right. Mm-hmm.
It was a really big Euromastix breeder.
I see.
That was huge.
Mm-hmm.
Then when does crested gecko starts getting bigger? I mean,
Well, on the
it is
crested
still
gecko side,
growing, but
it was in the mid to late 90s, right? So I didn't see
When they
anything
rediscovered it.
available until like 97, 98, and it was like $1,000 for a pair of them. And that was me. Where was I? It must have been like King Snake or something that I was looking on. But I looked everywhere to try to buy a crested gecko.
Yeah.
When they first came out, because when they were first being talked about was in the forums, and then I saw the Vivarium magazine of like a blue crested gecko,
Yeah,
which was an accident. Yeah,
Misprint.
it was a misprint.
Yeah, but it's blue.
Okay.
But I did email Alan at the time
Do you believe we can make blue crested gecko in the future?
in that
Not
color.
that blue.
Probably not that blue.
It was
no.
like it was like ball pen ink blue. It was
Yeah,
like,
it was
know.
like
Dark
blue
blue,
like that.
yeah.
It was
Yes.
blue like
Yeah.
that.
I
So
know.
yeah, probably not that color.
It's in here too.
But a lavender blue, a light blue, a gray blue, a steel blue. Yeah, we already have those.
Yeah.
Right. So I have a few of them. I have some of them. Cold Fusion's a beautiful line of blue ones as well. Those are my favorite ones. So we have the blue version Cold Fusions. We have the blue ones from our tangerine lines that we make as well. So that blue, yes, obviously we're already there. But that blue, no.
I will work on it. Yes.
You let me know when you make one.
I will definitely. Yeah, and obviously the market dropped down rapidly these days. I mean, last year in 2023. What is your opinion on that? What was the cause of it? What was happening at the time, and what we can make better from now on?
I've seen market crashes before. But I kind of have a question. When did crested geckos get big in Korea?
From 2021 was
So
starting
around the
point right before pandemic. Yeah.
So before that, like in around 07, 08?
Yes. Same period of leopard gecko, the lemon, frosted lemon.
Beautiful animal. It's so sad. But we've had market crashes in crested geckos and across the hobby all at the same time before as well. Between 06, 07, 08, we had we had a market crash then as well. That was also an economy crash, right? So it's not just reptiles, right? We see this in housing, we see this in vehicles, we see this in all across the economy. So it's just, it ebbs and flows with the economy. So it's not something that's permanent. We've seen it because I've seen previous market crashes and we've seen gecko, and I've never ever in my life would have imagined that crested gecko would sell more than $6,000 in my life. And we've seen geckos sell for $40,000+, right? Which is insane for something that reproduces like rabbits. Yeah. So the market has gone up to heights that we've never seen before. It's going to go down to bottoms and lows that you guys have never seen before in your country, but what we have seen here in the U.S. So we're not unfamiliar with it, but we know that we have to stick it out.
You're saying same thing in Korea. We have to stick it out.
Yeah. Either you stick it out or you shift your focus, right? Maybe cresteds aren't the thing that you breed this year or next year or the following year, right? Yeah. You shrink your collection down a little bit. Maybe you focus on another species. I think one thing that we forget, and if I were to try to inspire anybody, is that breeding reptiles is not about breeding a specific single species. Breeding reptiles is the practice of herpetoculture, which means that we should be focused on how does this species survive in the human population? How do we keep it going so that we don't lose it and, the last person that has it and the animal goes extinct in the hobby, right? So it's about conservation, which means you need multiple species in your collection. I see. So if you're a good herpetoculturist, if you're a good hobbyist, and you're a good keeper, you should have multiple species that you all love and enjoy and that hopefully you can profit from.
I like it. I mean,
that's what I feel. That's why we have 28 species in our collection.
Very positive points we should listen to. I mean, we are so much focused on only one species, which is crested gecko.
Yeah, and the business of crested gecko, when you should be focused on the practice of herpetoculture.
Exactly.
Right? So it's a totally different mindset, in my opinion.
That's true.
It's, I'm doing this because I like to do this and I want to make money, or are you doing this because you have a passion for the species? Now, we say we have a passion for the species, but you only have one species, and you only have 3 or 4 of those morphs. There's hundreds of morphs. You should have all of them.
Do you think any opinion what direction the crested gecko market moving towards in America? I mean, I heard like a ball python breeders coming into this hobby and aquarists coming into this crested gecko hobby. It is happening in Korea too. I mean, a lot of aquarium people came into crested gecko hobby right now, and their community has been collapsed very bad. And something like that. I mean, is that happening in here? And
yeah, I do see. I think a lot of it has to do with the genetics. People being able to predict what color, what morph, and the quality of that morph that you're going to get, I think is what helps a lot with that.
I see.
What do you think?
Agree. I just wonder how many crested gecko breeders approximately are there in California? Do you imagine? I mean, crested gecko breeders.
You would probably know better than I only know our local friends, really. I mostly know the Southern California people. Yes. And a lot of us tend to go to dinner together, that we have the Lil Monsters dinners. Yeah. And so we try to get as many of them to join our dinners as possible. Just because I think over here on the West Coast, we have we have a lot of community here, you know, so we'll share booths with each other, we share animals with each other, we share information with each other. Yeah, I really like a lot of the SoCal breeders here on this side because we have a lot of fun with each other.
A community.
But as far as how
Community,
many,
friendship.
how many people do we have at our dinner?
Yeah, but
Around 35
we
people,
didn't invite everyone. It's
I mean, we tried to.
No, we didn't.
I tried to. Not everybody came. There's got to be at least 50, 60 breeders
I would
here.
say there's less in California than there are in certain East Coast states.
East Coast states are small though. California's really big. I say we probably have more per square mile.
I don't know.
I actually have no idea.
Yeah.
I just wonder.
I'll start a poll.
Not everyone's from California. A lot of people travel to
That's
the
true.
reptile
Yeah,
That's a
show.
really good point. Yeah.
Yeah, so it seems like we have a lot, but
Yeah.
a lot of those people are from other states.
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting.
Yeah, we've had people from like New York come,
Utah,
North Carolina,
Carolina, yeah.
Korea.
and
Korea.
yeah, Koreans come all the time.
Yeah.
Korea's June.
What project do you focus on right now?
Everything.
Everything.
There's no one project that's
Top secret.
impossible to tell. There's so many projects.
Well, before we were studying single gene,
Yes.
and then
Like a
now
tiger.
we are working
Yes.
with combinations
Uh-huh.
and how genes interact with each other.
Yeah.
So that's what we're working. That's why we have so many, and we work with a lot of different phenotypes because we are studying the interaction.
The combos, basically, yeah. Like if I have a project, like let's say I have a super empty back project, I want every color. I want to make the yellow ones, I want to make the red ones, and I want to make the black ones, right?
Yep.
And then
How
after
do you
that,
break up the pattern, but not the pinstripe.
yep.
How do you get lateral pattern instead of quadding?
Okay, how many
Make white wall versions of all those. That's just 2 genes.
Yeah.
And I've got like, we've already got what, 9 projects.
Then my every color tiger.
Yep, and then we have tigers, of course. So we want the black-based tigers, the yellow-based tigers, the red-based tigers, the strawberry
Strawberry
blondes, the
blondes.
phantoms, the non-phantoms,
Uh-huh.
the orange pattern version, the white pattern version.
How many crested gecko do you have right now?
Breeders or just total?
We just have a lot of babies right now.
Yeah, we have a lot
Our
of
numbers are high.
I see. Just let's say just breeders, like female and males.
For breeders, we have around,
I mean,
think it's
not
around
breeders, but
360
adults.
breeders, adult breeders. 360.
Okay, yeah, 60 doesn't make sense. I mean,
Something like
yeah.
Doesn't make any sense.
360. Oh, that's
For the
a lot.
ones we're still growing up, maybe around
They hold
400 or
back.
something like
Oh,
that,
yeah.
right? So we ebb and flow.
Yeah.
You know, depending on how much we have in stock and
Yes.
what our quantity of grow outs and
Uh-huh.
holdbacks are and stuff. Yeah.
And then we always reevaluate to see what's practical, what we need, what's like extra that we don't really need right now. So
Yeah.
keep the numbers
Manageable.
manageable.
We don't breed all of them at the same time, though.
Yeah. No.
So we'll have some females that'll take a whole 1 or 2 or maybe 3 years of break.
I see.
And then we'll revisit them maybe sometimes. So, you know, we try to be as ethical as we can about how we breed and the
That's
numbers that we
what we
breed.
But you
need.
still keep the genetics.
Yes.
But we have to keep the genes.
Yeah, so-
Because we want to not only see where the gene started,
Uh-huh.
how it progressed,
Yeah.
but what happens if you breed that gene that's been outcrossed 8, 9, 10 times
Yeah.
back to an animal that's 8 generations for it, right?
Yeah.
And you'll end up seeing, what you will see is that you'll see you produce that same phenotype. As the phenotype progresses, you'll see the progression go into the very first generation, which is why you know that they're genes. But it takes like 20 years to do that.
Yeah. But that's why I respect you guys.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, a couple of minutes ago you mentioned that ethically you're breeding once or twice a year or 2, or maybe take 3.
For each female, yeah.
Yes.
And sometimes males as well. Yeah.
I do that also, but it's not happening in Korea right now. They take this as a wasting time of their lives, so it's
each their
different.
own.
Yeah, different perspective, but
Reflective, yeah.
but yeah, it's because of the business mind of
That is the business mind.
Yes.
That is the difference between I'm doing this as
Yes.
a business versus I'm doing this as herpetoculture. So for me, because we do this for herpetoculture, we don't want to ever lose those genes. So
That's true.
actually, every single year, and this is really sad to say, but every single year we lose one or more of our breeders. So last week, during before the show, we lost Sakura, which was one of my original absolute favorite females. She was 20 years old this year. So, before that, we lost Cheeto. We lost...
No, we have Cheeto.
Oh, not Cheeto. Iroh, sorry.
Iroh was old too.
Iroh was old too, right? So,
Iroh was our first crested geckos together. Yeah. We bought him from Rami.
Oh, yeah, we did.
Yeah, he used to have a reptile shop.
Rami, the same Rami you were talking about.
Yeah.
The promoter of that.
I see.
We bought it from him.
It was before Reptile Super Show even existed.
Wow.
Maybe when it wasn't as big or popular.
Was it?
I think that's he's starting it.
Yeah. So yeah, we try to keep those genes alive, and if we have an animal that's getting old, we will breed them to reproduce that animal as perfect a copy of the animal as possible. So we'll brew 1 or 2 seasons. We'll hold 100% of the offspring back until they develop, and whichever one ends up keeping the genetics in the ratio that we wanted it in the original animal, that's the one we keep. So we just keep the genetics alive.
We have a Sakura copy, exact copy, just like her.
Thank you for that. Thank you for doing it. I mean, yes. Okay, let's move on. Besides breeding, importing, exporting, printing stickers, what else do you plan on this year in business?
Lizards. Yeah. Our spiny tail iguanas, our tegus.
Tell them about which species of spiny tail we have, all of them.
We have pectinata, so we have banana and pied. We have bakery. The swampers. They're really smart. We also have iguana delicatissima. It's a lesser Antillean iguana. We have 2 of those. Oh yeah, we have Roatans.
Oh yes.
So and then we have delicatissimas, the little spiny tails, the little ones. We have a pair of those. Maybe we won't. Yeah, the defensors, but maybe we won't breed all of them. That's a lot of babies.
Yeah.
And we have to have incubators for them. Yeah. Because we can't incubate at room temperature. They're incubating higher temperature. So.
What else?
We have to breed what is manageable because.
What's the other spiny tail we have?
Yes.
What's the other one?
We have our newest one, Acanthuras.
There you go.
Our new babies.
Yep.
But we have to make sure we breed what's manageable because summertime, after everything's bred and the height of summer, we have to make sure that we could still manage it.
That's true.
Winter's easy. Yeah. Egg production's low. We're not breeding in the wintertime. All the tegus are brumating.
We do have a lot of tegus.
The iguanas are less active. So wintertime is easy. So it's easy to plan. I'm going to do this, but what is it going to be like in the middle of summer? Yeah. Your busy season. All colors. We have red.
Oh yeah, blue, for tegus. How about the pink panthers?
All right. Last couple questions. Advice for beginners. Import things to know for reptile rubbers, especially the beginners. Can you advise?
Learn as much as you can before you get the animal. Exactly. And make sure it's something that you can provide a thriving environment for. And then make sure you have the proper enclosure and the proper space. Depending on what species you're getting, you're thinking you get a baby, it's cute, but they get big, they get bigger. So do you have the time and the space to provide what they need, like throughout their whole life, not just right now?
Important thing. What things to avoid?
Impulse buying.
That's what you should avoid.
It's a commitment. Animals are a commitment. They're alive, they rely on you for everything. So make sure you're ready for them.
I see.
And then buy from reputable breeders or reptile shops. Make sure that they're healthy. Make sure their eyes are, alert and bright and they don't have any, funky stuff happening.
Yeah,
Make sure they're healthy.
those are good.
Because you want a good experience.
That's true.
Especially
for
for your
me,
first
I would
one.
avoid getting caught up in hype. Buy and breed what you like and turn that into a passion. Don't do what everybody else is doing. Because then it ruins it for you in the long run, I think.
That's true.
Yeah.
And also to animals. And how can we find you? My subscriber reach out to you.
If you guys ever want to chat, Instagram. You have a
Facebook.
questions, shoot me a message on Instagram. Instagram Messenger is the easiest way. If you have any questions, I'll happily help. I chat with as many people that ask me questions. But you can follow us on Instagram. Our website is lmreptiles.com. You can find foundationgenetics.com there.
Thank you.
And then, and we're doing a YouTube channel. So it's all instructional videos that are based on how the science behind the crested gecko works, what the chromatophore looks like, how genes work, allelism, stuff like that. So I'm going to be posting more and more videos. I do all my own content, 3D modeling and everything. So
Great. Yeah. Lil Monsters 웹사이트 들어가면은 정말 배울 것도 많고 참고할 것도 많고 또 궁금한 것들을 물어볼 수 있게끔 돼 있으니까 그 웹사이트 들어가서 진짜 많은 걸 공부해 보세요. 지금 제시카가 얘기한 것처럼 먼저 공부하고 학습하고 키우는 게 정말 중요할 것 같아요. 웹사이트 들어가서 공부도 해보는 걸 추천드리겠습니다. Anyway, last words to my subscribers. You first. Any words?
Find your own way. Don't follow people. That's my number one thing. That's what I say for everybody. Pick what you like. Let your own drive kind of grow into the hobby.
Thank you. And Jessica?
Have fun with it.
Oh, yeah.
Have fun.
Rock and roll.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you,
It
brother.
was good to talk to you. And thank you for having on my YouTube channel contents. My honor to have you guys on my another episode.
It's an honor to have for us to be part of it. I appreciate it.
Thank you. I'll hope to see you guys in Korea soon. Yes.
That would be fun.
Yes. 오늘 그러면 에피소드는 여기까지 하도록 하겠습니다. 안녕.